Portsmouth Football Club were formed in 1898 after a bunch of predecessor clubs, including Portsmouth AFC, who had Sir Arthur Conan Doyle on the books. In 1910, Portsmouth adopted the famous blue shorts and red socks, and had stayed tradition for over 100 years. In 1927, Portsmouth were finally promoted to the First Division, and after 2 FA Cup finals, they finally won the trophy in 1939. Portsmouth Football Club finally got promoted to the first tier in 1927, and following 2 FA Cup finals, they won the trophy in 1939, following a 4-1 win against Wolves, which remains one of the biggest wins and biggest shocks in FA Cup history. Portsmouth retained the trophy for 7 years due to World War II, and in 1949 and 1950, Portsmouth won Division 1 back-to-back, one of only 5 teams in history to do so. However, this will be the last time they'd ever win Division 1. Following poor run of form, Portsmouth dropped into the 4th tier and slowly made their way back up again. However, that's when the financial problems arose. Portsmouth are a football club steeped with financial turmoil, the earliest problems arising back in 1910. In 1998, the club entered administration, however was saved by Milan Mandaric. In that time, Portsmouth saw promotion to the Premier League. However, Mandaric's funds began to dry up, and the club was eventually sold to Gardemac after £60 million in debt. Gardemac completely changed the structure of the football club, bringing in players like David James, Sol Campbell, and an ageing Andy Cole in the first transfer window. Under Gardemac's ownership, Portsmouth won the FA Cup in 2008 with a late goal from Carnu against Cardiff. This squad featured Premier League invincibles, FA Cup finalists, Champions League winners. Right, calm down lads, one of them was Jimmy Traore. However, just after the FA Cup, the stock market crashed, meaning Gardemac lost most of his funds and had to sell Portsmouth FC. This was sold to Suleiman Al Fahim in a £70 million deal. However, Gardemac only received £2 million of the original fee, putting Al Fahim's finance into question. After this, the club was sold to Ali Al Faraj. However, his money was not as much as he claimed, and Balram Chanro, who funded the move for Al Faraj, took over the club and straight away put Portsmouth into administration. This was the first time a Premier League team was ever put into administration and they were deducted 10 points, being relegated from the Premier League that season. In 2011-12, Portsmouth Football Club were bought by Russian millionaire Vladimir Antonov, and things started to look bright with a decent start to the season. However, in late 2011, Vladimir Antonov was given an arrest warrant for fraud after he illegally stripped a Lithuanian bank. This landed the club in administration and were given a 10-point deduction for this. Despite this, Portsmouth gained a historic 2-2 draw against fierce rival Southampton, with fan favourite David Norris scoring a last-second equaliser. Portsmouth were relegated in the 2011-12 season due to the point deduction, and in the beginning to the 2012-13 season, the entire playing staff left after not being paid in months. On August 9th, Portsmouth Football Club were saved with just hours to spare.
Shrill whistles all the way around the ground. Long ball into the edge of the box. Resher wins his header. A shot on goal. Oh, what a goal! David Norris has equalised for Portsmouth in injury time. And the northern end of St Mary's.
Obviously, we had the massive financial meltdown in 2013. As a fan, how did you feel about that?
I think we were victimised. We were slightly. I mean, there are other clubs who were damn sight more in debt than what Pompey were, and we just got hammered. All right, yes, they did overspend. The player's salary was far too much. I don't know what a small club it is, but like I say, I think we were victimised.
Yeah, club. Obviously, the EFL and the FA didn't hand out proper owner checks. Do you blame them in any part?
They perhaps could have done a lot more, as in to see what was going on with some of these owners rather than just people with money coming from all over the world, pumping it into these clubs, don't know where it's come from and things like that. But yeah, I think they could have done more. Right.
Following the takeover of Portsmouth FC, Portsmouth were given a 10-point deduction, which was very controversial, as, you know, it wasn't well deserved. Portsmouth were relegated at the end of the 2012-13 season, after finishing rock bottom, after going through a winless run of 22 games. In League 2, things didn't get much better despite the new ownership. The first couple of years they struggled, and even under Richie Barker, the club found themselves on the brink of relegation to the Conference, the 5th tier of English football. This led to the club to appoint Paul Cook from Chesterfield. Under his stewardship in the first season, they got a playoff semi-final where they were cruelly beaten in the last minute by Plymouth Argyle, and the second season was very memorable. On the last day of the season, Portsmouth won 6-1 against Cheltenham to win the league title, where they're only on top of the league for half an hour that entire season. This brought attention from American investment group Tornante, headed by Michael Eisner. And after a meeting by the PST Trust in May 2016, they gave it the go-ahead, and Portsmouth were going to be sold to Mike Eisner. This promotion-winning campaign gathered attention from American investment group Tornante, headed by Mike Eisner. In May 2017, the PST Trust had a meeting to decide what was going to happen, and they decided to sell up. The takeover was completed in August 2017, and the club was officially Eisner's. In their first season, they finished 8th in League One, and under Kenny Jackett after Paul Cook left for Wigan Athletic. The second season under Kenny Jackett was a lot more memorable, however, being top of the league in December 2018. However, everything fell apart, and he ended up finishing 4th in League One, losing on the playoffs to Sunderland. However, there was a very special day when Portsmouth, in March 31st, 2019, won the Checker Trade Trophy. In March 2019, however, a very special day for Portsmouth. After all these years of dark and gloomy days, they went to Wembley and beat Sunderland on penalties to win the Checker Trade Trophy.
If Portsmouth were liquidated, how would that impact your life?
I think it would have had a major impact on my life if my football club had been liquidated. I mean, I know for a lot of people, for myself included, you look forward to Saturday afternoons, 3 o'clock, to go and watch your side. You pay a lot of money and you do a lot of time and effort to travel around the country to watch them. If that suddenly gets taken away from you, that's going to have a major impact. I mean, for a lot of people, their football clubs, it's been passed down to them from generations, so it's something that's in the family. If that disappears, I think that'll have a major impact on an individual's life.
Did you ever feel anger towards the EFL for not giving background checks?
I think both the EFL and the FA and the Premier League as well are all culpable in what happened to Portsmouth Football Club. There was no regulation of any of the owners. These are people who have since been jailed for things like international fraud, and have been one of them was even involved in the Angolan civil war. I mean, these can't be good guys who are doing things for the right reasons and investing in a football club to see it grow. These are people looking to make a quick buck, and the fans, the people who cop it at the end of the day, they're the ones that stick by the club, and I think they have every right to be angry at football governance for allowing this to happen.
How much do fans mean to football clubs nowadays?
I think things are changing in football. The higher you go up the football pyramid, I think they're just another number on a spreadsheet. They're not fans, they're customers to Premier League sides. I think the lower you go down the pyramid, the more the fans are the lifeblood of the club, and they're the people that keep the club alive. Volunteers, getting people through the gate is a big part of a club's income. So I think the lower down the pyramid, the fans are absolutely crucial. Without them, the clubs wouldn't exist. I mean, I remember my first game. I was 7 years old. It was 1999. It was Torquay in the League Cup, so it wasn't exactly a glamour fixture. But ever since you walk up those steps, and I remember it down the North Stand, you walk up the steps, you look out over Fratton Park, and that's it. You're hooked. And I think that football club means an awful lot. I mean, it's something that is within my family. It's friends. Coming from the area idea, everyone supports Portsmouth. It's our local side, and I think without it, I think that would leave a major hole in the community and people in this area's lives.